Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening to this. This is Coffee with Kevin. Yes, and it's time to have a sip of that wonderful coffee. This is my coffee. Mm-mm-mm. And again, I'm using today is a good day to have a good day. I love this coffee cup probably the most because it's saying it's perfect. Today is a good day to have a good day. Every day is a good day to have a good day when you wake up right. And today we're talking about chapter 10, the final chapter. And this is the final time we go into this book. We've been going this chapter by chapter, and we're up to chapter 10. And in the book, I talk about how making it a good day is something you can do. Yes. But today is May 26th. This will be the last time we present in May. And this weekend, I hope everybody had a good weekend. It was a long weekend. It was Memorial Day weekend. And it was time to think about those of us who passed, those in our circle who have passed, people who we know, who we loved. And you'll see right back there a flag, and that's a memorial flag. That was the flag for my father's funeral. My father was a World War II vet, and I remember specifically, we had the music, we had the guns. It was a wonderful ceremony at the cemetery, and the flag was folded. That was on his coffin, and given to my brother. My brother who passed away 3 years ago. I ended up getting that passed down to me. My father was one who joined the military on his own, as was the time period. We had just gotten attacked, and everybody wanted to go, and he enlisted early before his age. Lied about his age. Father found out about, but I guess he got in anyway. Um, he was 17, and he wanted to do the duty for his country, and he did. He did. He was in the Pacific Ocean on a personnel carrier. They called it an LST. So he was moving Marines from place to place, and I guess maybe tanks and ships or whatever it is. I don't know if they did that. Um, but he was really proud. He was a radio man, and he really, really liked doing that. So another person in my family I remember is my uncle Dick Waldron, and he served in the Korean War, and he was also a radio man for the Navy. It was just amazing. Although his story to me was he spent a lot of time in Japan playing baseball, so I don't know. He did get out to the front, but I guess during the Korean War it wasn't quite as critical as World War II, when we're fighting for ourselves, for our country. And that's, that's the memory of the people who have passed before us. Not just the veterans, the people who have kept, who have been a big part of your family, of your circle of loved ones too. You remember those. I find myself short of being able to do exactly what I wanted to do because I moved down to Tampa. We moved down to Tampa, my wife and I, um, 3 years ago. And so you can hear me better. I got the mic. And the cemetery plots of my mother and my father and other loved ones are back up in Massachusetts, unfortunately. I wanted to go, and when we go this year, and we will be going back up this year, we're going to make sure we go visit those cemetery plots. All right, let's get a little cheery. It's the May 26th. I was looking for things that happened on May 26th, and maybe it's not that cheery. On this day in 1924, we passed an immigration law. What we were doing is we were tightening down on who can immigrate to the United States. It was right after World War One. It was right after World War One, and so we were tightening down. We didn't. We only wanted mostly Northern Europeans. We didn't want Southern Europeans or anyone else really. Um, Interesting thing of the people we're going to be allowing into the country, we wanted college degrees. I thought that was really interesting. uh, but history repeats itself, doesn't it? We were looking at immigration laws and tightening down immigration 70, 80 years ago, 100 years ago. Sorry, 100 years ago. 102 to be exact. Oh my goodness. And here we are again, been going through that again and looking at that. Yeah, it was for security right after World War One, and we were looking at the people we fought or the people who weren't our allies. We were looking at the people who were our allies as the people we're going to let in. Everyone else, it's like lock the door to it. So we had, maybe we had a decent reasoning for that coming right out of the war. And so yeah, that's what happened on this day and this day and back then. So today we're going to talk about chapter 10. We're going to move really to something really much more positive here and the last chapter of the book. Again, the book Living Your Dream Life simply by changing your perceptions. This is the second edition of that. I rewrote this to make it clearer to actually bring up the language level a little. I wrote it very simply at first, and then I realized, I love to read books where I have to look up a few words every now and then. I think it's part of growth. So I said, well, why don't I pass on that part of growth to others as well? Not only that, it's cleaner in its language. It's more direct in its language, and I thought it would be really good. And that's what that second edition. And I think I've added some material in that second edition as well. But chapter 10 was wrapping up the whole thing, right? It's really called Your Game Plan. And I rewrote it for this called Orchestrating Your Destiny, because this is when you come to the last part of everything that's in the book. And it was a game plan. And here's where you start to plan, what am I do now? Have you ever been to a multi-day seminar or workshop or something like that? And then at the very end, you're thinking about, oh my goodness, what am I going to do in the real world? Well, let me tell you, you were in the real world. You were in the real world all along. And you're just going to what hopefully will be a new phase of that real world. Good morning. Good morning. My wonderful, beautiful wife, Brenda. And she said, remember my Uncle Arthur too. My Uncle Arthur, who was also in the military. I can't remember what branch of the military. And I believe probably during World War II as well, because he was closer to my dad's age. So also remembering Uncle Arthur. Thank you very much for pointing that out. All right. So I talk about the fact that, our lives are like a potter in his pottery. He's constantly shaping things that he loves to see, that he wants to create. And that's what we are. We are the potters. And the pottery is our lives, our future. And we're constantly creating things. We're constantly creating things. And I want you to remember, you're no longer a passive observer of life. You are the creator of your own destiny. You're that potter actually actively doing things. We wake up every morning sometimes and just, oh my goodness, we got to go through this again. Got to go through this again is being passive. If we wake up and say, wow, what can I do today? How can I make this an even better day than yesterday? Or what things can I conquer? Which is a thought I had for many years. And once in a while, still do wake up and say, "Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see what I can get done." We want to have great expectations when we wake up. We don't want to say, "Oh, I can't stand it. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do this. It's Monday. Oh my goodness." No, no, you want to have great expectations. Greet every dawn with an anticipation lens, looking for the remarkable opportunities that are going to be there for you that you're going to be able to take advantage of. You can do that. I also talk about journaling. Journaling is known throughout the self-development world. But in journaling from my point of view, because I am a hypnotherapist, is therapeutic, but it's also something more magical too. So record your daily accomplishments so you can look back and say, and I've done that. And I will be transparent. I don't journal all the time. I've gone for months and months without journaling. And when I think about it, I jump back in again. I've done that looking at a journal from a year or two ago. Say, whoa, my goodness. It's what the journals are really cool for. Um, you want to provide a visual record of whether your steps align with your destinations. If you're talking about the events, the important things that happen, you can look and say, hey, this really worked towards getting me to where I am. Or boy, this really threw me off, or whatever it is. You can have that. You can have that proof. And I also talk about if it's something significant in your life, not just to record what it is, record how you're feeling. Record, oh, I'm feeling anxiety. I got this buzz in my head, or I got this thing in my heart. Whatever it is, record the details. So when you go back to it later, you can feel it again, especially those good, really positive times. You can recreate them knowing what you felt and then feeling them all over again. It's really cool to be able to do that. So you have an emotional time travel portal to be able to look back and travel back and see what you did, imagine what you did, feel what you did. And you have all the details if those real significant events. And of course, as I mentioned, it's therapeutic to do this. And you know what? I also talk about one of the things, one of the big reasons why a lot of people don't set goals is because they don't they think they're going to be disappointed. I talk about recalibration of your goals on a regular basis. Sometimes we have to pivot completely because we find a goal is not going to be for us because maybe it's too great of a sacrifice. So we didn't think about that when we're setting a goal. Maybe something else is going to give us exactly what that goal would have given us that has come into our life. We always have to be observing. Just because we wrote it down at one time, and writing it down is very important. Remember that. Doesn't mean it's gospel to us. You know, a goal that we write down is important, but if we're constantly reevaluating, we can change that. We can recalibrate that without it affecting our self-esteem, without it affecting how we feel about our ability to do things, because it's a smart way to do it. So I talk about guarding our mental garden as well, because, and I've talked about this so many times, you know it, you know it. Those negative thoughts are like weeds. And pretty soon, if we get too many negative thoughts, the weeds have overgrown all the positive thoughts. And I've talked to many people and I say, I want you to think about something really good that has happened to you or you have done. And they struggle, they struggle. Now I know every one of us have really good things that have happened to us. Every one of us have had really good things that we have done. But we've had so many of the weeds come into our life and overgrow, and those other ones are so under the weeds that it's hard to get them. So we need to cultivate. We need to constantly be aware of those weeds, those negative thoughts. And we need to nurture the prized tulips, those positive thoughts, nurture them. Go back and think, wow, this was really great. I love that this happened to me. Gratitude is that thing that allows us to do that, by the way. Whether it's you're grateful for something that happened to you or you're grateful for the ability to have done something good. Keep on going back to them and say, I say, I love you and thank you. I'm saying it to God. You can say, I love you and thank you to the deity that you see is greatest, to the universe, to nature, or to yourself. And that's okay. But I love you and thank you. That is that gratitude and love that you can do that for. All right. And just remember, because I talked a lot about self esteem in this book, remembering that you are a 10, no matter what, you are a 10. Certainly, a lot of crap came onto us as we were growing up and through our lives that make us say, oh my goodness, I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not this and that. But deep down, you are a 10. The lot of the book talks about that on a scale of 1 to 10, by the way, not on a scale of 10 to 100. You are a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. Oh my goodness. But that's the book. If you're interested in the book, it's on Amazon. It's Living Your Dream Life by Kevin Martin. And no, that's not a picture of me. As you can tell, that guy has a lot more hair and it's a lot darker. Now, let's see what we got for quotes today to finish this up. And again, I want to apologize. We got in a little late today, and that was totally my fault. Not a technical thing or anything. I got so focused on something else. But I'm here. And let's take a look. I love this one. If you shoot for the stars and hit the moon, okay, it's okay. But you've got to shoot for something. A lot of people don't even shoot. That's Confucius. That was so profound as everything else he had said. If you shoot for the stars and hit the moon, it's okay. But you got to shoot for something. So many people say, oh, pull back those goals. Don't make them so difficult. You'll disappoint yourself. Confucius is saying, shoot for the stars. And if you only hit the moon, which is nowhere near the stars, it's okay. At least you shot for something, you made something. So don't let it stop you making goals. Make those goals and make them so they're out of your comfort zone so that you actually have to stretch yourself. The tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach. I love this. I've used this so many times. Helmut Schmidt. Tragedy does lie in not having a goal to reach. Again, so many of us don't make goals because we're afraid we're not going to make them. If you don't make goals, you're not making them anyway. All right. When days seem too brief, you're likely living your best. Now, Earl Nightingale is one of my favorite personal development authors and speakers. I love his voice. He had a deep bass voice. He was doing radio for many, many years. Um, this is kind of interesting because I talked about this last year, and this last year went by so fast. So maybe I was living at my best. But I say sometimes life goes by too fast, and we want to make sure we're enjoying the moments. We're enjoying the moments. This year, some of it's been going by fast, but those that I purposely slowed down to enjoy the moments, doing things I hadn't done before, experiencing things I've been wanting to do, having gratitude throughout those experiences. That is the time when it's okay for life to be slow. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody. That's the late, great Jesse Jackson, who just recently passed away. I use this because I was talking about self-esteem. This quote is a lot longer if I remember right. Basically, he says, I am somebody. I may be poor, I may be this, I may be that, but I am somebody. We can find so many reasons to put ourselves down. I say, I don't have a good job, or I don't have a job. I'm divorced, I'm this, I'm that. And you find all the reasons to say, I'm a crappy person, but you are somebody. And if you've got a little trail of all those tulips, and maybe the weeds overgrew those beautiful prize tulips, but if you've got those beautiful prize tulips, you are somebody. And they're there, by the way, for every one of us. Those wonderful positive experiences that we've had, the opportunities that we've had, the things, positive things that we did, even though they may be small, they make us somebody. And lastly, your journey to greatness begins with you now. I don't know if I'm, I don't know that I'm the originator of that. I said this somewhere in the book where it's been paraphrased, but the idea is your journey starts now. As soon as you stop listening to this, as soon as you move to the next thing, it's the start of your journey. So consider what I've said to you today. Consider that I've said you're in control. It's not a passive thing. You are in control of making your life, sculpting your life to be what you want to be. And start now. Whether that's going to look up something, going to get a book, going to do this or that. I talk a lot about reading books in my book, and it's funny. I somewhere I say, no, this isn't the only book. You need a lot. You need to nurture yourself, nurture those prize tulips within you, and part of that is reading and listening to very good stuff. Not the trashy nonfiction. I found inspirational nonfiction when I want to go to nonfiction. I find inspirational is very good. Documentaries of people you look up to. You can find them throughout the internet. You know, you want to learn something new, start to build that growth, something that's going to be useful to you to help yourself or to help others even better. So start that journey now. And I will see you next week. We're going to be back to our regular format of just a informal conversation next week. We'll still have our quotes and stuff like that because you know I love quotes. Until then, have an incredible, enlightening time. And it's not because I'm wishing it for you, it's because I know you have the control to make it that way for yourself. Take care, all. Bye bye.